Good morning, welcome back to another video, and today is the 5 best shuffles that you can do right now. Now just stick around and enjoy the video. Now coming in at number 1 we have the BOREAN leather to Arctic fur shuffle. Now this is going by using leather working, and what you have to do is either farm up BOREAN leather or go buy it off of the auction house. This can then be used to create heavy BOREAN leather, which then you can then turn that into Arctic fur. This is pretty damn easy in order to do, and I find this to be quite a good way of just shuffling gold over to the high-end, high-selling Arctic fur, which is used for the mechanized chopper mount. This is such a great way in order to get a hold of a lot of gold by bare minimum basics, and is definitely something you may want to consider moving forward when you want to actually do something along those lines. All it requires is to have Northrend leather working and then obviously be able to do it, and then by using that BOREAN leather to turn it into that heavy BOREAN leather, and then you turn that into the Arctic fur. It really doesn't take that long to even do, and it's a nice little uptick overall. It's not like a massive gold making method. It's more of like something you should probably do if it's profitable for like about an hour or so. Coming at number 2 is the RIVERBUD to Inks shuffle. Now this one's really damn easy, and I use this one all the time to reduce the cost of my inscription materials, and that is by buying out RIVERBUD or Winter's Kiss, as they are usually, well, most predominantly the cheapest of the BFA herbs. What I then do is I make sure I have the enchants for crafting on my character, and then I just mass mill all of the RIVERBUD or Winter's Kiss and then get the pigments from that. In most cases this is more profitable to do it this way, and in Worth It we do actually have a flipping module that will tell you whether it will be worth it even doing it for yourself. Now aside from all of that, the enchant actually increases the crafting of the inks and pigments, and is very helpful when you're actually doing it, because you don't want to keep it as pigments, you want to turn them into inks and then sell the inks on the auction house. This is because the inks will sell faster than the pigments, and the majority of the time you can usually pull yourself in a profit. One thing I would mention, however, is the ultramarine pigment. That one can take quite a long time in order to do if you do a mass mill, a super mass mill of a load of herbs. So what I tend to do is I sell my ultramarine pigments, but I turn the rest into inks, like the crimson ink and the viridescent ink. This is so I still make a profit on those, and the majority of the time the ultramarine pigment actually comes out as a profit as well, because for some reason it works out that way, which is kind of handy on my realm as well. So one thing of note, you may want to check Worth It before you do this shuffle, as we've already got it built in, so you can then double check that before you go ahead and do it yourself. Now aside from all of that, let's move into number 3. Now coming in at number 3 is the Savage Leather one, and that is turning it into Pristine Hide. This is another leather working one that you can actually do, and this comes from either farming or buying savage leather off of the auction house, or going into like somewhere like Zul'Gurub and killing all of the mobs for savage leather. Now aside from all of this, you can use that savage leather to turn it into pristine hide using your leather working. This means that you can then sell the pristine hide for a lot more gold. 9 times out of 10 the pristine hide usually sells for a lot more, and you can actually then shuffle the savage leather all the way over towards pristine hide. The pristine hide sells faster, and it also pulls in a profit, which usually sells faster and usually sells for a lot more gold. This means that you can then make a bit of a profit on this one, and like I said with the BOREAN leather to Arctic fur one, is a nice little uptick for yourself moving forward. Now aside from all of this, this one can also be farmed up in Uldum with the little baby crocs. Aside from all of this, the savage leather is really easy to farm up. I find this to be quite easy just to run into Zul'Gurub, do a complete circle around lap, then go out and reset the instance, and then do it all over again. That being the case, this is pretty damn easy in order to make a sizable amount of profit overall. And the pristine hide, and at the end of the day, what we want to do is maximize the amount of profit by using these shuffles. So therefore, I would recommend get yourself a leather worker just to do the Arctic fur and the pristine hide shuffle, because at the end of the day, if you've got a toon that doesn't have it, then you might as well get it and then just enjoy using it. Now, coming in at number 4, we have the Dreamleaf to Roseate Pigment. Now, this one is my all-time favourite. If you have been watching me for quite a while, I like to use this one a lot for my inscription. And this is by either running the Darkheart Thicket for at least an average of around about 800 Dreamleaf per hour. Well, it's usually about half an hour's worth of work, but hour lockout. Aside from all of this, you can then mass mill the Dreamleaf in order to get roseate pigment and sallow pigment respectively. These can be sold on the auction house, but at the end of the day, you can always craft those into their Legion glyphs or crafting any older world glyphs using the ink trader. This means that you can run over to the ink trader, which is in the Legion Dalaran. This can be traded into the ink trader, these roseate pigments, and then turned into the higher end inks that are selling for a lot more gold. Like the other day, I actually got 600 roseate pigments, which I milled for 8 gold a piece, so they were worth 8 gold. And I went over to the ink trader in Dalaran and then traded them in for Starlight ink, which then I sold on the auction house for a huge amount of gold. This is a really good shuffle in order to do, because you're able to craft the higher end or higher valued inks for a lot cheaper and then make a profit on top of this. Due to the fact that a lot of people forget about the ink trader, so it's definitely something we need to capitalize on when we're actually going about our inscription, and then therefore we can then make more gold overall. Now, coming in last on our list is the Osmanite ore shuffle. Now, this one is by either buying it off the auction house or farming it up yourself. Preferably, with this one, I prefer to buy them off of the auction house. This one is also in the Worth It add-on under flippings, and you can then use your mass prospecting in order to prospect all of this Osmanite ore. You then get a load of different types of gems which you can use with your jewel crafting. Jewel crafting is required for this shuffle, and what you're going to be wanting to do is cut every single gem that is profitable on your jewel crafting. That means when you're actually prospecting it, you can then cut those gems that are profitable for even more gold, and the ones that aren't, you just sell those gems flat on the auction house uncut. That means you can maximize the amount of gold using your jewel crafting and then be able to make more gold using a little bit of a shuffle when it comes to the Osmanite ore. Now, this one's really easy, and this one's made me a lot of gold in the past, so I can attest that this one is the best one going forward. And other than that, guys, that is pretty much all I have to say for the 5 best shuffles at this moment in time. I would, however, have stated the Tide Spray Braces shuffle, but I thought that would be a bit repetitive as we've already covered it like so many times. So, that being the case, guys, have an awesome rest of the day, and I shall see you in the next video, which will be tomorrow.